Annie.
Mm-hmm.
How did you sleep?
Um, Probably I slept good, and then maybe I woke up for a little bit and then went back to sleep, and I slept good again.
Okay. You do sit up, and it's a big empty house. Your room is the size of some apartments in Seal. It is this massive affair. You know, at least 45 feet in length and 50 to 60 feet in width. And your bed is this massive monolith set in the center against the back wall. The floor is this black, white marble. There are minimal furnishings, stuff you brought in yourself. The bed was the only thing, as far as furniture is concerned, that came with the house.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some of your bags are stacked up, and there are long shadows cast from them. The windows allowing light in, but not allowing light out. So you can see outside, but no one from the outside can see in.
Mm-hmm.
As you look around, and you're sitting up in this strange foreign place, what pops into your mind?
Probably that I'm gonna have to collect some things over time to fill this space. Kind of realizing that it's the size of a house, and probably just hearing back in her head the comments about Ackerman not just being friends and spoiling her and insinuating that she's being spoiled. Kind of part of her is like enjoying it, but another part of her is like, it's so unnecessary, but reminding herself to be grateful, because without the help she wouldn't be where she is. Her place would have been burned down and they would have been struggling to start back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of realizing where she's at.
Do you get out of your bed?
Mm-hmm.
You step down on the floor, and it's cold. Like it's just a cold floor, because it's marble.
Mm-hmm.
And as you step down, you go, oh, a blue light flashes on the side of your wall, and then a bunch more lights fade off from the side of it, going orange and getting darker and darker as they fade to slightly red. And the floor beneath you begins to warm up.
What? I kind of want to go poke the wall. Is that a button or?
You go poke the wall, and the lights fall down, collapse to where your finger is, being a little more blue, and the floor stops heating.
What happens if I draw shapes?
Nothing. Well, if you go to the right, the lights go up with you, going further and further red. It's just a two-dimensional thing, left to right. It's a temperature scale.
Oh, okay, I figured that out, and then I kind of drag my finger to what I think is the perfect temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And then I leave it.
Cool. You step out into the hallway, and it's just, again, the size of it hits you. This
Well,
is a
first I've changed clothes, but then
Oh.
yeah.
But yeah, no, the size of it hits you again. This hallway is the length of some rooms. And you remember that this hallway goes for, the entire floor of a building. And this is just one floor.
Mm-hmm.
You, make your way through the halls. Where are you going?
I'm probably gonna head downstairs to see what progress was made yesterday, setting everything up. Because they were all, like, kicking me out, making me
Yeah.
go.
You go downstairs, and one of the rooms, there was this big open parlor area.
Mhm.
It has an easy access to the kitchen. There are a bunch of, the place came with a bunch of tables preset in it.
Mhm.
And then, also your tables that you brought. They're basically the same style. It's the simple minimalist Lavasa style black iron, black glass. It's just
Mhm.
these black iron pillars coming up from the ground that are like bolted to the floor, and then there's this deeply black stained glass that's thick security glass sitting on top of it, and those are what the tables are. The kitchen looks to be empty aside from a pot of coffee that's being made, and you see Beth sitting at one of the tables reading a book and sipping coffee. It's really black.
Right, do we have, anything in the fridge yet?
We got everything in the fridge.
She smiles and then she heads to the fridge and gets herself some creamer for her own coffee.
Heathen child.
She shrugs. We come from different families.
You are very used to the way that... I say used, but you don't ever really get used to the way that Beth makes coffee. You pull it out and pour into your cup this nightmare fuel, darker than black coffee.
I probably, I pour a little bit into my cup, and then I go to the sink and I dilute it with water, and then I put milk in. That's just routine.
You walk over to the table and sit down next to her, and sure enough, her coffee, she's over there drinking it, and it looks like her cup just empties into a black hole that stretches to oblivion, because of the blackness of her coffee as she sits there drinking it, looking at the book in front of her.
Slightly wondering if that's something that my friends see in the other side.
Beth looks up at you and says, "So, what do you think of the new place?"
Amy looks around, just face glowing, and she's like, "This is honestly my dream."
Beth kind of looks around and goes, "Yeah, it's really nice. I don't like my bathtub, though."
What's wrong with the bathtub?
The thing... She kind of, wonders how to say it and goes, "Furniture is supposed to stay still." But my furniture comes out of the wall. She looks down into her coffee, and this look of horror is on her face, and she's like, "I went to go use the restroom, and I rushed past it. And then a beast slowly crept out of the wall, grabbing my robe and pulling me toward it."
I'm sure that's something that we will get used to with time. Mine, my bathtub comes out of the floor, and it's like a bathtub, but also a hot tub, but also a pool.
She looks up at you just with this blank expression and goes, "Oh. So, how's the commander?"
Do you think, I think last time I spoke to him, he was busy and we didn't quite get to chat.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, I wonder if this is like, because, you know, Ackerman is kind of high-end, if this is like high-end for
Kinda
everybody,
high-end.
or if this is like all vampires live like this. You know what I mean?
She kind of leans back, and Beth's eyes kind of glaze over a little bit as she looks into the distance. And she brings herself back to looking at you. She looks like she wants to say something, but then takes a sip from her coffee and sets it down. And goes back to reading her book.
Annie kind of looks at her expectantly, and then when she goes back to reading, she's like, I mean, I'm definitely not gonna pressure you into saying, but, you know, you can share your wisdom with me, right?
Wisdom. I'm an old woman. You've been through a lot, Annie. In a very short amount of time. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Not even 6 months have gone by.
It feels like it's been longer than that, but also shorter than that. How has it been 6 months? Less than 6 months.
Well, I mean, just out of character note, Lavasan time is wacky because, days.
It's always raining.
No. I mean more like weeks are. I have a calendar system pinned somewhere, and it's very long.
I vaguely remember it being different.
So there are 6 days to a week. There are 6 weeks to a month, and then there are 6 months to a year. So.
Oh, so it's almost been a year.
Yes, our time.
Oh, that's even longer. Oh gosh, how's it been?
Let me just do some quick math. There are, there are 36 days in every month. So it's been 216. It's been 216 days. When you divide that by the average length of our months, it's been almost 7 months. So it's about the same length.
But, like, this makes sense for the combat side. I just don't know how it doesn't seem like that much could have happened in almost a year. But also not that much, because it's, like, not that much happened, but then so much happened.
216 days, which is over half a year. Anyways, but, you to give a recap of what happened, she looks up at you and goes, well, I mean, you went to the little thing and denounced to the little local gathering of those different citizens of Lavasa, and you denounced the patrician of Hemersla. And then whenever the consul came to town, you went to speak with Consul Priscilla, and you got her to agree to come see you at your restaurant, and then you went together to view the homeless, and she agreed that it was a problem, and then asked you to go to the capital city with her, and then you stayed in the capital city, and then you were attacked numerous times, might I add. Like, that didn't do a lot for my heart, young lady.
Yeah, so there was. Well, okay, I won't make. Yeah, there was like
She
3 or 4
she
times.
just stares you down. Beth is just like, my point exactly, but without saying anything. And then she
Sorry,
goes,
you know I'm a talker.
and then you had the whole thing where you were under protective custody for an extended period of time, and you were running around the city, and you were being dragged from
Well,
party
I
to party.
wasn't
And
really running around. Oh yeah, there were lots of parties, but that was like the only time I got out, and that was like so rare that actually happened. Because, like you said, most of the time I was in protective custody, so I was actually like locked up, like not a prisoner, but like the opposite of a prisoner.
she looks at you and goes, "A free person? The opposite of a prisoner? Someone who's free?"
No, more like because I was trying to be protected, so it's like never mind. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Beth again looks like she wants to say something but
Like
doesn't.
a princess? Like no choice?
Beth bursts out laughing. Takes a big old sip of her coffee and sets it down and goes, and then you were part of several consulate debates and cabinet debates, and then you
And then people
Rose
didn't
and-
like that.
no they didn't, but nonetheless you were there, and we listened to every one of them, as you know from the letters we've written you. But and we'd call and we'd speak, and then there was that period where your friend got in trouble and fought, and then he passed away, and you had to go and help him with, and then you had to go to the funeral, and then there was that down period where you didn't much talk to anyone, and then there were several weeks after that. It might have been a month or more. I don't remember how long it was, but after the bill, the one about the new draftees,
Mhm.
and then all those people got recruited, and they've been shipped off to who knows where. Another war to fight for our masters.
Do I know
Yeah.
anything about that? Like where they were sent?
No.
Okay.
And then we've it's been a few days since then.
Yeah. You remember one of the guys that was there that night that was like saving us with Jeffrey?
There were a lot of people there.
No, but the one that was like in the building with Jeffrey.
Oh! You mean the one that was wielding 2 guns, the hot one?
Yes, yes. So he okay, so here's a little bit of a backstory. If I haven't already told you, I've probably already told you because you know how much I talk. But so the first party I went to, okay, like he was the only person that talked to me. The only one. But then
Were you that unpopular?
no, it was I walked in and everyone was like astounded, and then I got this vibe that they all were like awed by me, and then like awestruck. And
She looked. There was a look on her face. This look of like, that's my girl.
And then everyone was like too shocked to like say anything to me, and they were all just staring, and then he was the only one, I guess, brave enough to like step up to me. And then so he took me out on a walk in the garden, and it was kind of, I mean, he got me lots of cupcakes. It was cute. And then he left me out there.
He left you out there?
Yes. And
What a
then
weird thing to do.
I know. And then that was pretty much it. And then because he gave me his business card.
Jeffrey and Ackerman both spoke to you, as did the Lord Militant.
Ackerman didn't talk to me because he didn't meet me until the next one.
Oh, sorry, not Ackerman, his assistant. What's the other girl?
His assistant? Selthor's and Ackerman?
No, not Ackerman. I didn't mean Ackerman. Why did I say Ackerman? I meant Priscilla.
Oh, well, she doesn't count. And her name was Smela.
Why did I say Ackerman?
I don't know. But, like, Smela was like, I was there in Seoul because of her, and then Jeffrey doesn't count because I went to the party with him, so that's kind of a given.
Anyways, but... Oh, well, yes, I suppose.
Yeah, so he gave me his business card, and I tried to call him, and he never gave me a call back, and then he decided to show up at the safe house after the funeral.
Ew. Fair.
Yeah. He was pretty good looking, but nah. I'm not gonna let anyone treat me like that.
Well, I mean... He did look like a busy man. Officers usually are.
Maybe. But there's still an amount of respect that I expect, you know?
You mean walking into a room and nobody talking to you because they respect you so much? Because, my girl, whew, if that's the case, we'll have the vampires of these countries bowing before you to return in no time at all. She's stumbling over her words. And then she's stumbling over her words. She takes another sip of coffee. You know what I meant.
I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
Well, we just have to use that same spell that you did previously and cast it on them again. So they're all enthralled by you.
It was this dress. Have I shown you that dress? I think it's in my closet.
My girl, dresses are an accentuation, or an extension. They are not the beauty in and of themselves. Anyone who says a too gaudy dress distracts from the person, and anyone whose dress is too loud and too noisy are insecure, or they just don't understand good taste. A simple body will attract far more people. I mean, I should know, she says, and kind of like bats her eyes.
You used to tell me stories about when you were younger. I miss those stories.
Yes.
What was that? Wasn't there a special boy you told me about? When you were young, you didn't end up with him.
She looks down at her coffee again. My wisdom, huh? There was a boy, yes. I let him get away.
Oh?
Yeah. One of my biggest regrets. Aside from not being home that day. After everyone else had passed away, I kind of drifted on. I've often thought about writing him a letter, seeing if he's still there. Daniel was a very handsome man.
But what if if he was still there, would you do anything different?
My girl, if I had known what I know now, I would have done everything differently. But at the same time, I'm not so sure that I want to. Because I met you. and my new family. And I get to help people, and it's not so bad.
Annie smiles and she's like, I want you to realize we all love you. And you're a necessary part of our family.
Her eyes go wide. Am I talking that down? This is you're acting like I'm talking like I don't want to be here anymore.
No, I'm just letting you know.
I am the head of this family, young lady.
Exactly. We need you.
She kind of like scowls at you. and then sits back and I'm well aware of this. She pats her shirt pocket where you know she used to keep cigarettes, and she lowers her hand absently as she takes another sip of coffee. You know, it's a big house. There's a radio in every room, on every floor. How many houses have you been in that have had multiple radios in them? Well, no, don't answer that question, because you've been in a lot of wealthy people's houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
The door opens and Finnick walks into the room. He's he kind of drifts over to the coffee and pours himself a drink and looks at it and goes, looks over at you with like this look of, oh, you're right, yeah, you didn't make the coffee?
She shakes her head.
And he goes over to the sink and pours some hot water in it, and then begins mixing other, like, lots of sugar and different spices into it. And he kind of drifts over to you.
She looks over at Beth and then points to Finnick with a nod. Like,
Beth looks over at Finnick like, what?
She snickers. Nothing.
You look at Finnick, and he puts like a dozen different spices that probably don't belong in coffee into his coffee. Like, he puts garlic and basil and parsley.
Okay, now she's concerned. She's like, she walks over to him and like
three scoops of brown sugar.
Pushes the spice basket aside, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Making some coffee, man.
Do you know what you just put in your own coffee?
Yeah, dude, I put some brown sugar in my coffee, man. You know where the cinnamon is, dude?
I hope you realize you just put oregano and basil in your coffee cup.
Oregano? Far out, man. Did I? He looks down at the spice basket. Oh. And stares at it.
Finnick, did you get some sleep last night? She puts her hand on his forehead.
Nah, dude, I stayed up playing a drum, man. It's like when everyone else went to bed, I was just like, I gotta keep beating this thing, dude. And it just drifted on. Before I knew it, I was sitting up and I was like, dude, it's light outside. So I came down here and there's coffee, man.
So
it's
you
like
were awake all night
pit of
playing
darkness,
the drum.
like the night of despair that surrounds us, like the clouds above.
She
Never knew
grabs
coffee
the
could
coffee
be
cup
despair.
and slides it to the side, and she says, "Go to bed."
Ah, dude, I'm cool, man. I'm gonna stay up.
You are, in fact, a cool dude. Go to bed.
I am a cool dude, and reaches over you and grabs grabs the coffee cup and like looks at you with a sly smile and say like, "Oh, you're gonna try and stop me," and then walks over to the table with Beth and sits down.
She looks at Beth and she's like, "Tell him to go to bed."
Beth looks at Finnick and goes, and then looks back at you and shrugs and takes a sip from her coffee. Having a handsome man, there are worse things in the world than having a handsome man sit next to you.
Finnick, go to bed.
Finnick looks up at you and then crosses his legs and stretches back and goes, "What are we talking about, dude?" And then takes a sip from the monster coffee and shakes his head. Whoa! That'll wake you up.
She just like throws her hands up in defeat and turns around, kind of looks at the kitchen, and then like decides she's gonna make eggs and hash browns and starts on it.
You're not gonna sit over here and chat with us, dude?
I can chat just fine while making us breakfast.
Whoa. Beth kind of looks at him and then tilts her head, and they both stand up and drift over to one of the the bar closer to the kitchen, and they sit down. He goes, "Y'all know how the lights work? I went in my room and it was just dark, which like I totally jive with, you know, but like occasionally a man likes some light, you know?"
I don't remember out of character.
The lights there are little switches on the walls, like
Okay, so it's
they're
normal
little
light
buttons.
switches.
I mean, yeah, they're just little buttons on the walls. He goes, "Really? Just little switches? So
Yeah.
cute, dude." Wow.
You know, like in other houses.
Finnick, are you high? Am I high? I'm high on life, bro. I'm like straight up digging this.
He's probably high on that coffee.
That's the truth. Yeah. And then goes backwards and just like downs the whole cup. And sets it
She
down in
like
front of you.
gags.
She does what? Gags.
He gags.
And he just kind of shakes his head and shudders all the way through his whole body. Whoa. Kind of like scratches his dreads. You know, I'm really awake now, dude. I'm gonna go wander the halls and contemplate the meaning of the stone. See what the building's trying to say to me.
You know what? There's this really cool thing in my room. Okay? Hear me out. The bathtub turns into a hot tub and a pool. You should go check it out.
You had me on bathtub, dude. And just like starts heading off in that direction. Finnick doesn't so much walk as fall forward. And it's like not unusual for like, this is just his normal gait. Like he has his arms as if they're not coordinated at all, just kind of flail about him. Like most people's arms, slide back and forth. It was like he heard someone explain the concept of moving your arms while walking.
And decided not to?
No, just decided, oh, I should imitate that, but had no clue what it actually should have looked like. And so his arms are like bouncing in weird and odd directions, going back and forth across his front and up and down, and elbows will rise up.
That scene with Hayasaka on the cactus juice, and he's just got the noodle arms going? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not quite. No, not that cartoonishly, but his arms do just kind of move randomly and weirdly about his body as he stumbles forward. Almost you swear he's gonna fall and hit his face, but somehow he just drifts forward. It's honestly kind of graceful. in a weird Finnick way.
Fascinating. Like, it's probably something that, like, she's concerned. He probably has fallen because he, like, tripped. But, like, so it's, like, slightly concerning, but also, like, that's just how he walks. So until he falls, it's not a big deal.
He drifts out of the room, and then as he heads out of the room, Emily kind of rounds the corner and goes, "Well, he's in a mood."
So he put oregano and basil in his coffee this morning.
she turns and gags and is and starts fanning her face as she's gasping for breath. Oh. You know that thing that people do where they bring their hands down in front of them and take a deep breath trying to calm themselves down? That's exactly what Emily does. And she goes, "Yeah, that's normal."
That's Finnick.
Oh, man.
You want
I
hash
had a-
browns?
Oh, I'd love some hash browns.
Take
She
a
sits-
seat.
She sits down and looks at the coffee, and her eyes go wide, and she gets up and she walks over there and pulls it out and pours herself a cup and then looks at it and just stares at the cup. And she looks up at you and goes, "You didn't make the coffee?"
So, the cool thing is, if you look at it, the bottom of the cup just is not there, so it looks like
I don't-
infinite coffee.
I don't want to think about that. She kind of laughs and dumps half the coffee out and it's like, no. She just dumps all of her coffee out and leaves it alone, doesn't make herself coffee. Looking at that is enough to wake me up. And then she starts helping you make breakfast as you make some hash browns.
She finishes kind of the eggs and the hash browns, and she starts putting it out on plates for her and Emily and Beth. And she leaves the rest of it in the pan. She made a little bit extra in case anyone else comes in.
Cool. You, no one else really comes in. It's just kind of you guys sitting there eating. Beth, Emily, and you. The maiden, the mother, and the crone, if you will. Actually, that's what Beth is reading, is The Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone, a book. And she closes it and starts eating and goes, "So how's that young fellow that you were pursuing, Emily?" Well, he's, Annie, you acronym, like, tell us more. Beth goes, "They're not getting away from this topic," and leans in, looking at you for support.
Annie looks at Emily, and is she, like, blushing, or does she look like, more upset?
A little more upset, but, like, not seriously.
Okay, so then she just kind of starts rolling up her sleeves, and she's like, "Do I need to fight somebody?"
Oh, look, he broke it off. Again, another guy. I don't know, it's hard to find a dude that gets your passions and is cool that you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, tell me about it. She just stuffs her face with hash browns.
Like, no, I'm not complaining any. I know none of my boyfriends have been half as crazy as yours, but
Wait,
like,
what? Oh, wait, yeah.
she kind of like, she just went like, "Yeah, no, you know what I'm talking about."
Yeah.
But
I don't date
still,
normal
like,
guys.
You don't date normal guys. She
It's
shakes her
an
head.
accident. Totally. Like, I'm not trying to find the crazies. They just kind of... Anyway,
Emily and Beth kind of look at each other, and Beth looks at you and goes, "You sure about that, Annie?"
she like her jaw drops in like mock offense, and she's like, yeah.
I mean, I heard Mike say once that she kind of stops and goes, "What did he say?"
Which Mike?
Hmm?
Which
Oh,
Mike?
you know, the professor, you know, your friend from the college from...
Oh, yes, that Mike. The good Mike.
Oh, right. She kind of, like, looks down, her eyes wide, and Emily's scowling at her, just like, "What did you do?" And Beth then just, So, Emily, tell us about your guy. What, so we're just gonna jump from that to back to me? Yes, of course. Why would we
Well,
not?
we already know my story. It's time for your story.
Well, it's pretty simple. He liked that I could cook. I mean, every guy likes that I can cook. I mean, they also, I've got a pretty face, so you know it's not hard to attract new fish, and then like dangle some food in front of them, and they really want to stay. But it's like after I start talking about my dreams and my goals with them, they all get disinterested, or they like, "This guy told me he wanted me to be his little queen of his palace and stay at home and lord over his lands." Like, what a weird dream.
Have you done, like, where you start with those dreams and then you see who sticks?
Beth goes, "No, she does. She starts with what sticks." And Emily
Yeah,
goes pale in the face. He goes, "Beth!" and starts blushing super badly.
Okay, so ignoring that, let's talk about, first of all, those dreams and how you can attract a guy by starting with that.
I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about those things when you're in the dark, if you know what I mean. And Beth takes another sip of her coffee. Beth snickers and sets it down.
Snickers.
Well, I want to do this. I want to do what you do. I want to keep running this place, and maybe eventually open my own place, you know, and keep working with you and feed the poor, feed other people, you know, provide good food, yell at a staff, like look at a kitchen full of people doing what I'm telling and just yelling at them as I sit there cooking. She like grows a
That
little.
is why you're the head chef. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yelling at people is fun. But
And you know,
I mean, more so than that, I kind of like the adventure of it, you know? Yeah, sure, it's a little stressful sometimes when, you know, you're pressed, you're back against the wall trying to crank out 40 different meals, and Finnick is high in the corner, like with a pot over his head, and he's supposed to be using that pot to cook something, and it's like, I need that for like half the meals we're trying to make that need to be out 5 minutes ago. She does the calming gesture again.
okay,
Goes,
so you know, I think that it would be completely fine to lock him in his room when he's high. I'm just saying. I would be fine with that.
But I kind of live for it, you know? These days when we haven't been doing anything, you know, I for the longest time I thought, you know, I need to go on a break. I need to take a vacation, you know, get away from all the stress. Honestly, this is way worse. Like, my anxiety is through the roof right now. It's like, I need to be doing something. I need to be doing something. I need to be doing something. And I'm not doing anything. And, like, honestly, the thrill of the kitchen and, like, all that stress, it's like I want to go back to it. It's like having the pan in one hand and the sore throat from all the yelling and the burnt fingertips and the blood from cutting your hand with a knife that you're holding in the other. Like, that thrill? I live for it. Wonder if I would have made a good soldier. Beth inclines her head like,
You know, maybe.
But, it's not neither here nor there. After spending so long in my life doing literally nothing, where I just sat in a room, letting my worries just drift away from me, I think I've grown accustomed to the chaos. The chaos is my new drug. Not in a bad way. That sounds like a bad way, but I don't mean it in a bad way.
No, I know.
Beth chuckles and goes, "You know, when we first found you, Emily, you were on the street. One of the first people that Annie and I helped. Well, I didn't find you, but Annie's my little girl, so I get to claim credit for it. But it's funny, you didn't talk so much, even when I first came around. I guess it's true what people say, that you absorb the habits of people around you. You are talking nearly as fast as she does."
Annie nods. And
Nice.
you've grown. I mean, your vocabulary was small and strong. And you've grown. Both
She
vocabulary
chuckles.
and as a person.
She chuckles. I mean, she blushes, looks down at her plate. She looks down, she goes, "I had a great teacher," and then looks down and stuffs 5 mouthfuls into her mouth all at once, and just starts sitting there chewing that. She's blushing super hard, but it's hidden by the fact that her cheeks are...
Amy just chuckles and watches and looks over at Beth with a smile. And she looks back at Emily. You know, you would have been a great partner to have in Seal. I'm just saying.
She swallows her food and grabs some of the orange juice that she had poured a minute ago and drinks it down to wash the stuff down her throat as she claws at the huge amount of food she just stuffed into her throat.
Then again, I wouldn't want to do that to you. But you know how to punch someone way better than I could ever dream of.
I can punch, yeah, I can punch people.
Yep, you can throw a punch. I can't do anything. I can talk. You know what? Okay, so there was this time, I'm not gonna lie, I did use my words to get out of a sticky situation. I was almost, they were trying to kill me, okay? And then I said,
Emily just starts laughing.
I said, you could be doing something else with those hands. And
Beth starts laughing again.
and then he decided he didn't really want to kill me. And then I ran away. And then he wasn't happy that I ran away. And then he showed up again later.
Well, I mean, the girl does like a man who chases them.
Well, maybe if he wasn't trying to kill me, that would show dedication.
Oh my gosh.
And then Annie kind of stops and looks down at the table, and her face kind of drops in thought as she realizes, this is something that's been stressing her out, but she's gotten to a point where she can laugh about it.
Emily grabs your hand and goes, "Attract the crazies, huh?"
Yeah.
So what do we got on your board so far? We've got, she holds up her fingers, some crazy psycho who spied on you while in the bathroom and then tried to break into your house. We've got,
I think he also tried to break into the safe house, so he's still kind of.
you don't remember that.
Oh, I don't?
Nope.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, because you thought it was all a dream.
Yeah, I remember that.
You've got that guy, I don't remember his name. Did you and Peter ever have a thing?
No. He was like my gay best friend.
Ah. Peter's gay? Oh, that
No,
makes sense. No, actually,
like
that makes a
bi.
lot of sense.
No, he kind of just likes everyone, except for me.
Except for...
Well, and then Mike, and then, Jake and Phil.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, then there was that human dude, I don't remember his name. And then you have a high-ranking officer in the military who stands you up and leaves you out in a garden in the cold. And then you have...
Wait, who's saying that?
This is Emily's saying all this.
Okay, well, okay, I guess I probably told her that story. Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming y'all filled Emily in on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she goes, and then you got Commander Ackerman, this dude, like, top-of-the-line guy, military hero.
He took down like 12 guys in front of me once.
She just kind of, like, really, like, grabs her head and is like... And then you have a dude in the street trying to kill you who may have been paid to do so. So you got a paid assassin who's like, I'm gonna pick this chick up that I'm hired to kill. Like, yeah, what? You can do that.
Yeah! When you put it like that, he's like, guess I'm gonna get paid to do something else.
Emily starts cracking up, and Beth smiles and kind of like looks away a little bit, chuckling. You know, soft smile on her face. Beth looks down and goes, with, you know, as much as you two get around, it makes me think that maybe I might try to put a foot back in there.
Ooh.
What do you mean, as much as I get around, says Emily. Beth looks at her with, like, this, what, like, really? And Emily just blushes real brightly and looks back down at her plate.
Okay, so how many fingers did you hold up for me, and how many fingers can you hold up for you?
Emily goes, well, I mean, there's not that many. And Beth goes, let's see, there was that boy Phyllis, there was Erimni, there was the vampire Trane, there was the half-vampire Avo, there was the, okay, maybe, well, it's not my fault that guys don't like all of this. Oh, I'm sure they like all of that plenty. Oh, Emily is so beet red at that remark.
So, here's what I'm thinking. With Emily's, like, way with guys, and then, you know, Beth, your wisdom, and then my, I don't know, kind of just attractiveness of sorts, we put all this together, and then...
You're saying the three of us need to date
find...
one dude?
No, I'm saying
Emily,
we've all got different skills that we could totally, like, try to utilize to help each other find a good guy. You know what I mean?
Beth slams the table. Oh, no, never mind. I'm kind of like, nah, and goes back to drinking her coffee.
What?
Is your coffee cup, like, actually infinitely deep? No, of course not. Emily shakes her head. I could have sworn it was the same height when I came in here earlier.
What?
You can't. Looking at the coffee in Beth's cup, you can't tell if the sides are just stained black from the coffee or if the coffee is still up to the top of her cup.
That's
really no
slightly
way of knowing.
concerning.
And Beth's like, no. No, what? What is it? Well, I'm just thinking that, Emily likes to spend her evenings out and about downtown, going to different club houses and speakeasies.
Yes, a clubhouse.
I was just thinking, what if us girls went to a clubhouse, went to a little speakeasy, maybe flirted a little, just, a little safer environment with my girls around me to get back into the game, and maybe Annie could distract someone not so crazy or highbrow, and maybe Emily could keep someone. Emily just kind of shakes her head and looks back at her food, muttering something under her breath. Beth grabs Emily's shoulder, and Emily looks up at her and...
If anybody is to stick around, I feel like they should have a seal of approval from the other two.
Yeah, okay. So, clubbing then?
I'm down. Amy looks at Emily.
I mean, it's...
Or is it too soon?
Goes, well then I guess we know what we're doing tonight. There's this scene of Beth walking into a room later that day, opening the closet and pulling out a dress and showing it to Emily, and Emily shaking her head, and then putting lipstick on her lips, and doing her hair up, and then she walks out and has this nice, stylish, flashy dress, and Emily's standing next to her, and then you walk up behind her, and then you guys are about to go head out on a night on the town, and I think that's where we're gonna end it for today.
I'm totally chill with that. I love that. But I can't lie, I'm imagining her, 1920s, she's still got that vibe.
Absolutely, yeah. No, a pencil dress with this long extender thing, with this long filter, except there's no cigarette on the end because she gave up smoking a long time ago. But she still has the long filter thing that she just puts in her mouth, out of habit.
I love it.
And then she
And then
has
the,
hair
pinned up
done in a-
curls.
Yes, absolutely. And then black lipstick.
I was imagining hot red.
We can do that. Emily is done up in a dress with a low V-cut and a little netting on the side on her sides going down. It's this tight leather dress. It's a very heavy-duty leather, and then the dress itself, the skirt is also leather. It comes off from a little belt and goes down, and it's split about just after the thigh. It's split on either side, and then she's got long boots, knee-high boots, and then leggings.
I imagine they're the really thick heel kind of boots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they're high heels.
Right. And Emily, her hair is also just kind of this crazy bird's nest mess. But at the same time, it kind of jives with the rest of what she's got going for her. What's the Annie wearing?
I can see her in a floor-length champagne gown, where it has that sagging fabric in the front with the spaghetti straps, and then it's completely backless down to her hips. And it's kind of got a sparkle to it. And then she's probably got her hair half up, half down, so it's got the inside out ponytail kind of braid going to the back of her head, and then the rest of it's just curled. Simple makeup, natural lips gloss.
Right. yeah, a car pulls up and everyone else wishes you all a good evening as you get in and drive out. And yeah, that's the game for tonight.
Fabius? Was it Fabius?
Fabius?
Yes,
Fabius
Fabius
Pyle?
is in charge.
Cool.
She's like, that's the last thing that she says. She's like, Fabius is in charge.
And now I'm gonna let the song play out, and then, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. I wonder if you know that it be Tokyo. If you seen it, then you mean it, then you know you have to go. First and failure. Dip, dip, dip. First and failure. Dip, dip, dip. Wonder if you know how that it be Tokyo. If you seen it, then you mean it, then you know you have to go. First and failure. Dip, dip, dip. First and failure.
But you can head out.
Okay, well then I'll talk to you later.
I honestly really hate this song, but it works perfectly for that scene.
Yeah.
Like, you can totally see that build up as, like, the girls are, like, getting ready, walking into the room, with this really exaggerated walk, flipping the hair back and whipping on the makeup.
But then you have to, like, kind of start... You'll have to start it, like, halfway through when it starts to build up next time as they're entering the club.
Yes.
And then it's, like, got the dramatic, like, slow-mo as they walk in, and the doors fly
Yes.
open, and, like, the wind
Yes.
is blowing their hair back.